Hello guys, and welcome to the new part of the lectures videos here on the channel. Well, we have 26,000 subscribers. It's a pretty huge number of subscribers, and I so far published 3 courses: Butcher the Sicilian, Butcher with the Bishop's Opening, and Butcher the Scandinavian. 4th course is about to be published. It's Butcher with the Patzer's Opening. But I just want to tell you something. So far I have also made more than 300 videos here on the channel, and those 3 actually 4 courses. So what is this all going to be about? I'm going to analyze games from my students from the courses of mine or videos and lines that I suggested in the videos. So if you make a good game, if you think it's a beautiful thing, if you think it's a very educational one, from now on, start sending me, and once in 2 weeks, I'll try to publish your games. Like 2 days ago, I got an email by Lasse. He's from Norway, I guess. I actually guessed like that because he sent me an email that he's going to attend a tournament, Kragerø Resort Chess International 2024. And when I was, like Googling, it turned out to be Norway. And he sent me a message and said, Maya, due to your Bishop's Opening course, I beat this female IM in 15 moves in a classical game. Hope you're able to access the file PGN. Thank you so much. So you're the first guy whose game we're going to officially analyze, even though unofficially I analyzed lots of games by my students in the past on the channel in some of these videos. So today's game was played yesterday in Kragerø Resort in Norway between Lasse Solbu, who bought actually my course about the Bishop's Opening. He was white in the following game, and Nina Højberg, 2133 woman IM. It was Bishop's Opening, Vienna Hybrid, Spillman attack. Let's go. He went for e4, e5, and played Bishop's Opening. This girl went for knight f6. He played d3. We call it bulletproof approach. And when he went for d3, this guy played Bishop c5. Lately, I've seen so many games and so many openings by black where they play Bishop c5 without knight c6. After knight c3, d6. This is also what I was asked by my son, because I also taught him to play Bishop's Opening, how to play without the knight on d6. Well, you still go with f4, and that's a very important line. And the point of this one is that you're not afraid of any knight g4, and any knight c6 would just enter into the main part of the course, where you just go with the knight f3 and go into all those critical but at the same time very likable lines for white. So after like f4, the real problem of most of my students is what to do against knight g4, because it really looks scary. It really looks like you don't know what you're doing, and it really looks like with the bishop on c5 and knight on g4, he just wants to play knight f2. I guess girl with the black pieces, woman IM, 2150 rated FIDE, taught just like that. Oh, I'm playing against someone who's around 1900. He's a patzer. He's just missed this knight g4. Probably he just missed the order of moves, and let me just go and kill this guy straightforward. Lasse learned his analysis very properly and played f5. With the f5, you're disconnecting the light square bishop and the knight on g4. You're threatening to take this knight on g4. And on top of all that, I gotta tell you one thing. Here, I found in a history of chess, being played like 163 games, maybe even a little bit more. Absolutely 50-50%. We had a bad move where people went for knight f2, and who wouldn't go with knight f2, because it's not that obvious how you should be playing this type of position, while 80 and something players went for h5, which is absolutely the only move, even though even if they know about the h5, and even though they played for this something like that, you shouldn't be, scared, and you just have to play a very weird knight h3 move. You're fighting against knight f2. They committed themselves with h5, and that's the way it is. And after like queen h4, you just have to go with the king f1. Very position that doesn't look good at all for us. At first glance, king is weak on f1, knight on h3 doesn't look good either. But all you want to do here, and all you have to remember, just move the queen on e2 and threaten bishop g5 to trap the queen. On your question, why don't we do it immediately, bishop g5? Because black can take queen takes g5, and when the knight takes, they can go with the knight e3 check. For example, if you play knight c6 and you go bishop g5, they will capture, and when you capture, they go knight e3, and they do the fork again with absolutely no advantage for white in those type of positions. And basically, this is where you have to learn that in positions like this, all you have to do is to move the queen in order to be able to do something like this. But in this position, you also have to learn that you won't be able to do anything with this move, simply because when you play something like when they go with knight c6, now you don't have queen e2, because they will play knight e4 and they will harass your queen. So this is why you just have to go, because they also threatened bishop here to remove that bishop. You would just have to move your pawn, which is not likely to be that obvious during the game, and you just want to keep the light square bishop for the rest of the game and play like this. So play a3 or a4, and when you play that move, you're just keeping the shelter for the light square bishop. Afterwards, you want to go with something like knight b5 or knight e5 with tempo, preventing knight e4 ideas, going with the queen e2, and followed by bishop g5. Let me show you the game. In the game, black didn't go for h5, which once again, I have to repeat, it's the only move. Wu and I went for knight f2. And keep in mind, this was a classic game. Here, Lasse went for queen h5, threatening the pawn on f7. And black went for g6, which is practically the only move. On your question, can we go with castles? No, you cannot go with a castle, simply because you will be going with bishop g5, and when you play bishop g5, which is absolutely a crushing move, they gotta go queen e8, and here you just go with that move knight d5 followed by knight f6. You don't care about the rook, you just want to go with this check. If they move the king, it's mate with the queen. If they take, you just capture, and these two bishops and the queen, you have a guaranteed mate in the next move. Very lovely type of the variation, very lovely type of the mate, and I found so many games being played like this. So after queen h5, they have to play g6, and Lasse went for queen h6. It's very interesting. They can't go with knight takes h1 because of bishop g5, and after f6, you take on g6. It's a little bit difficult because you usually think, should we go with the queen g7? No. You go with f takes g6, and when they take, you push g7, you threaten the rook, and at the same time they can't play rook g8 because our bishop is controlling the g8 square. So black went for king d7, and here best move is knight a4, chasing the dark square bishop away. You want to take that bishop, and afterwards want to take the knight. So after knight h1, this one, and play knight f3. That's a cool thing about the bishop's opening. You're down a rook, clearly down a rook, but you're completely winning because they don't have enough defensive resources in this position. Although he went for the most logical queen g7, she played knight takes h1 because she goes all in now. Knight f3, he keeps on developing himself, king c6, and took the pawn. Who would say that being down a rook but only having one pawn is absolutely enough? She went for queen g8. Now she realized how difficult position was, and she's giving up a rook. Although Lasse showed his full attacking potential, and I'm proud of this guy because he went for bishop d5, king b6, and says, I am a student, buddy. I'll play knight a4, attacking that king and the bishop, and I'm gonna go all in. So he captured on c7, And when she played queen d8, he played knight c3. She couldn't stop the mate because after king a6, there we go, it's checkmate in 2 moves. What a lovely game, 15 moves. Yesterday's game from Kragerø Resort Chess International 2024 in Norway. Beautiful game. Congratulations. Lately, Bishop's opening is, you know, like having a kind of revolution and a huge expansion, mainly thanks to the course I made on the Chessable. If you want to play just like Lasse, get it, learn it, and you're going to have 15 moves games. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time. And I want to remind you, send me your games from the openings or opening videos or openings that I made on the Chessable. I'm gonna publish your game if I find it enough attractive. Thanks and all the best, guys.